Hey everyone, what is going on? This is Sam Kresil back again with another video. And before I get on to the main subject of today's video, I've got to try and get a few things off my chest as much as possible because, yeah, I know it's been such a long time since I've done another video for this channel and I'm so sorry about that yet again. But I'll try and get as much off as soon as possible so I can get on to the main topic. And before anyone asks, yes, I did watch that announcement video for Avengers Doomsday that was released just a couple of days ago. And it looks to be quite a stacked up cast, as the entire room appears to be filled with chairs made for 27 people, as I was actually going through all the names to expect who would be returning for this film. Like some of the actors from the past Avengers films, as well as several new players, which we definitely got. And then there's the cast of the Fantastic Four reboot that's coming out this year, as well as the Thunderbolts and such. And then there were some stars who I wasn't expecting to be part of the lineup, like Patrick Stewart and Ian McKellen returning from the X-Men film series as Professor X and Magneto respectively, along with several others. And it looks like Channing Tatum is returning as Gambit from Deadpool and Wolverine by the looks of it as well.
Woo, I'm about to make a name for myself here.
And of course, I wasn't surprised when Robert Downey Jr. was going to be the last one in the lineup. Like, yeah, I think we were all expecting it at that point, but he's the main star of the film anyway, and Doctor Doom is now the new main bad guy of the multiverse saga apparently. So it looks like the cast for Avengers Doomsday looks pretty much stacked up for that many people involved. Even though I think we were all expecting several more people to be included in the lineup, like Tom Holland and several others who were missing for some reason.
But you wanted more?
But who knows, we might expect to see them in Avengers Secret Wars since it's supposed to be the final film in the multiverse saga of the MCU, so we might expect to see them then. Oh, and I also heard that they're actually shooting the film in London right now, as it's now currently in production, which I actually didn't expect to be this soon because they were originally supposed to shoot much earlier in March, but changed it to April so they can finish writing the script then. So now that we got all that stuff out of the way, let's get to the main subject of this video that I've been willing to bring up since before that announcement video came up. So since last year, I made a video regarding my thoughts on Robert Downey Jr. playing Doctor Doom in the MCU. And my thoughts were actually very similar to everyone else who reacted to this news, because it also got people very divided at that point. Like, everyone was excited that he was returning to the MCU, but at the same time, everyone also kind of groaned that he was playing a different character in the MCU. And not just any character, Doctor Doom. And I also found myself very confused at this because, I don't know, why is he playing Doctor Doom? Why did they even pick him? However though, I think it's given me some time for me to figure this out, but I think we were all missing the point at this stage because we're actually in the multiverse stage of the MCU at the moment. And it's given me time to realise that this version of Victor Von Doom being played by Robert Downey Jr. may actually be from the multiverse. And there may be some theories that there's going to be some revelation that the characters are going to react to Victor Von Doom looking exactly like Tony Stark. So it might actually cause some conflict and shock within the story itself, depending on if they might actually go that way. And as crazy as it might seem, and despite my thoughts and everyone else's skepticism on this casting, I'm actually 100% down on Robert Downey Jr. as Doctor Doom. Yeah, I know it's absolutely crazy. I never actually thought I'd make up my mind on something like this, but since there isn't really a Victor Von Doom in the main MCU, as well as the Fantastic Four, I think it would make sense in that sort of way, since they're coming from the multiverse and there's going to be some kind of invasion or something like that. So, yeah, I think they might actually have to go that way. Because, like Robert Downey Jr. said at the Comic-Con panel,
New mask. Same task.
meaning that Robert Downey Jr. is wearing a new mask, but his character has the same task. Meaning there are hints that he wants to wear a suit of armour around the world, just like Tony Stark did when he was Iron Man. And I know everyone's already made the same opinion about this, but if they really wanted to go in this direction with RDJ as Doctor Doom, do you think it's worth it they should have saved it for the actual film rather than announcing it too soon? Because I think that's part of the reason why everyone was making such a big deal about it, because they couldn't really seem to get behind RDJ playing a bad guy. Because I know I couldn't at the time either, because I already said it. But let's not all forget that Robert Downey Jr. was also a controversial choice for Iron Man as well, for those who may not know. Because a couple of years ago, before he even got the role, RDJ was apparently in a struggle in his career at that point, as he was addicted to drugs and even served life in prison for a brief time. And that's when at that point people found him to be a controversial choice for Tony Stark, which many people would find him to be the perfect actor to play anyway, but everyone thought it was too much of a risk at that time because of the way he was at that point. But since the first Iron Man film kick-started the MCU, the role changed RDJ's life and career for the better. So again, as hard it is to admit, some time has passed for me to change my opinion on Robert Downey Jr. as Doctor Doom. Because, believe it or not, I actually sent a letter to the directors of Avengers Doomsday, Joe and Anthony Russo, on trying to swap Robert Downey Jr. with Cillian Murphy, which everyone really wanted as Doctor Doom. He was like the biggest fan cast everyone wanted. And although they didn't really get back to me, it still took time for me to actually get over the fact that what actually seems to be a desperate attempt to get the MCU back on track again made me realise that there is actually meaning to this casting choice that we didn't actually know the first time. So yeah, if they're going to go in this direction, Robert Downey Jr. as Doctor Doom, it is. So that's my positive thoughts on Robert Downey Jr. as Doctor Doom. Yeah, I actually thought it was weird at first, and I know everyone's not on the same page, but I'm actually going to try and support it this time, as strange as it's going to be. But for whatever happens along the film anyway, I think Robert Downey Jr. is going to be concealed behind a mask anyway. Yeah, because I thought that was my problem as well, because it didn't matter if he was wearing a mask the whole time, it's still going to be Robert Downey Jr. But now that I've given my own thoughts on what I think of it now, I think that's the point of it. I think he's supposed to be covered up behind a mask the whole time until he's revealed to look like Tony Stark until near the end of the film or something. However, I do want to come to the conclusion that now that I have given my positive thoughts on Robert Downey Jr. as Doctor Doom, does it still feel too soon to include him in an Avengers film? Because I think what we've seen so far from the title change from the Kang Dynasty to Doomsday, I still think it might be too quick and too soon to include the character, as it doesn't really seem that Doctor Doom has had any build-up in the MCU up until this point. But with the exception of the Fantastic Four reboot coming out this year, it may seem like Robert Downey Jr. may make a cameo as Doctor Doom in a post-credits scene or so. So it makes sense that they're using Galactus as the villain in this film instead of Doctor Doom, as they're likely using him for later in that sort of way. So it could be a sign that we may be expecting RDJ as Doom much sooner than expected. However, this does bring a certain topic that I'll mention in another video later down the line, as it does seem to concern the character of Kang the Conqueror, who they were originally building up as the big bad of the multiverse saga before scrapping him altogether. And I know a lot of people don't really care about Kang anymore because Ant-Man and the Wasp Quantumania was bad and everything, but I really think they should have continued his story first before moving on to Doctor Doom, instead of just throwing him out the door like that. But again, that's for another video altogether. Okay guys, stay tuned and I'll be back again with another video, hopefully later down the line, and I'll see you all later. Take care, bye.